start. My name is Naftali. I'm VP of Endosurgery for Q Medical Devices. So assuming that most of you are not familiar with Q Medical Devices, I will start talking a bit about Q Medical Devices, as this will be essential to understand the challenges we are facing, and then understand why we chose account-based marketing. I believe that understanding this will be very relevant for additional companies not in the medical device space, and this is why I wanted to share it with you, and so you can enjoy the same method, especially during these times. So I will start. And we are part of Q. Q is actually an American corporate. The headquarters sits in Solon, Ohio. And what gather all those companies, just that we are elastomer specialists. In Q Medical Devices, this is where all the medical device related business is gathered. And actually, I manage the business for what's called Degania and Biometrics, that I will talk in a minute more about. Degania and Biometrics cover in general three different markets. One is the OEM market, and I will focus my discussion on account-based marketing on this market, as this is a B2B market and very relevant for the discussion. But we have two additional markets, and those are the distributor market, and we also have direct markets. On the OEM market, as this is OEM and B2B, so probably most of you are not familiar with the Degania brand. However, I don't wish any of you to go now to ICU, but probably if you were, so you would have seen all those brands over you, and many of them actually you are being manufactured in Degania, okay? And we are, so Johnson & Johnson, Cardinal Health, Medline, Cook, Bard, Covidien, which is now part of Cardinal, but all of them are our customers, but on the product themselves as consumable, you will not see our name. So this is a B2B brand, and we'll talk about it. The other business is more distributors and direct market, which is less relevant for this session. Just in general, to understand our footprint, so I'm based here in Israel. We also have offices as well as manufacturing plants in the States, sales offices in Europe, in the Far East, and also large production plants in Slovakia, in Stakeholder in France, India, and China. Okay. So now that you're more familiar with my business, I would like to share with you a bit about our COVID-19 challenges. And when we actually realized that the COVID-19 isn't transient, so we mapped the global trend that affected our business, and we actually set a strategy to support this. And what we see is that on one hand, demand was decreased, and we see this on elective procedures. But on the other hand, we do see new opportunities, and we were putting together all effort just to pick them and enjoy, if I can say enjoy those opportunities, just to pick them, because if we will not pick them, someone else will, and this is part of the issue. In addition, and I think that all of us actually experience now that this is the end of traditional marketing as we knew it, but not saying that a trade show will not be back. For sure, they will be back. But when this was very intense work, part of our yearly schedule, now our estimation is that we will not have trade shows at all in 2020. And when understanding this, together with additional face-to-face connection and meetings and travels that are being canceled, we realized that we should act differently. Approaching to digital, this is of course an opportunity, but we realized that customers' attention is limited. So we would like to approach those digital channels with a very specific message and to target very specific accounts. And this is just what led us to realize and to learn and to deeply understand what is account-based marketing. And this is what I would like to share with you. Just to be honest, we started with account-based marketing a bit before the COVID-19 hit us. But when COVID-19 was here, we realized this is like the perfect solution. So we sped our campaigns as I will share. For those of you who are not familiar with account-based marketing, and so I think the draw here actually explain, and if we know our traditional marketing funnel, and this illustration saying that we actually flip it on its head and understand that we start with identifying the target companies that we would like to approach. So this is of course not trivial, but once realizing who are those companies, those accounts that we want to target, this can start a journey and a very good position and a very focused position. And this is the beginning and not the end of the lead generation. Okay. So if this was a software or other B2B industry webinar, I would say that account-based marketing is a very common topic. But we realized that for medical device, it is not. And when I first heard about account-based marketing, I thought, okay, what is the big deal? But then I learned and understand that this is the perfect solution for B2B medical devices, especially when you are handling large customers, large corporates, and the sales process and the sales cycle is long and complex. So if this is your starting point and you are working with traditional marketing, and we are doing this in anyway on regular days, we are doing traditional marketing as well. So, but the efforts we put in order to get the right leads are tremendous. And when we are doing screening and doing all the research prior to the marketing effort, we found that this is beneficial. So as I said, putting the resources for research prior to the marketing efforts is actually essential here. Once you did this, you can proceed and go and create a personalized marketing and sales effort, and those will be the campaigns as you know them, but then your target audience are very small and very focused. So most likely that you will know how to target them and you will understand their needs. Another very important key issue with account-based marketing is that you are mapping all the stakeholders. So you are not only target the main stakeholders, but as part of your campaign, you actually attract and target a lot, or all the key person that can make a decision. And we all know that in most of the cases, this is never one person decision, but it always different decision makers and different aspects. So as part of account-based marketing, you can map and attract and target all of them. The result of this, as we mentioned before, is that the percentage of qualified leads are actually much higher than on a traditional marketing, when sometimes we see campaigns with 1 or 2% of qualified leads, sometimes higher. But when we are planning account-based marketing campaign, our targets will be much higher, and we are talking sometimes even about 50%. Last but very not least, and I will get back to this, is the opportunity to work together, sales and marketing. And here I got the opportunity to manage both divisions, so it was easier for me to set this methodology. But I really recommend this, because when we are working together, sales and marketing, this actually echo the results. I want to share with you a case study of a campaign that we ran. We decided to start, and in the Ghana, in our OEM business, we have 3 different divisions, one for urology, one for surgery, and the third for enteral fittings. So we were starting with urology, and as our customers are actually the market leaders, so understanding that most of our opportunities are actually within our customers. But if I would say, for example, if Johnson & Johnson or BD or Bard is my customer and I'm working, those are huge corporates. If I'm working with one division, it can be that the other division is not even aware that I'm a candidate for a project they are running. So part of this was to identify what are the accounts in which we want to penetrate. And when talking about accounts, it's not necessarily the name of the company, but within a company, it can be different divisions. So we identified 3 large corporates, and one of them, as I mentioned, was already our customer, but this is was easier for us to perform the research and gather the information, but for the technique and for the research, it does not matter, and we still have to dig and learn and identify the stakeholders. Together with the sales team, we performed this research, and actually the result of this was a very long report that we shared with the team, and this was the infrastructure for the campaign. And now when we are talking about campaign, it's more like the campaigns that we are familiar with, just that the audience are very focused. So we can write an email campaign, we can run a geographic campaign, we can run digital campaign, but we know who we want to target and what are the content that we want to share with them. And it was very efficient. recently and this evening, we are having another discussion together with the team of one out of this 4 qualified leads that we are actually in a final stage together with them to convert them. So this was a very successful process. I strongly recommend this. After we ran this pilot, we recommend this for the other businesses as well, the surgical business as well as the enteral fitting, and we are now working on the other 2 campaigns. Yeah. So what my recommendation are now focusing, as I shared with you, why I believe account-based marketing is very relevant for medical device and B2B medical device in specific, but to be more specific, it's very relevant for the COVID-19 area. As I mentioned, the attention and the resources, not only for the company, for us, but also for our customers is very limited. So being focused is actually any methodology that helps us be focused and invest the money and the efforts on direction that will generate revenue as quickly as possible is a huge advantage in this time. So of course, revenue is welcome always, but in this time, the conversion rate, the cycle time, this is very, very crucial. And therefore, I do believe that sales and marketing, as I mentioned, should work together and focus on the bottom line of the business, which is revenue. Another key to succeed is to determine how you will select those target accounts. Sometimes this is the million-dollar question because, and this is why running a general campaign is easy, because you don't have to decide before running the campaign, but you can just follow the leads and start from there. But here, this is very, very crucial to do this right on the beginning in order to have a successful campaign. So here in the COVID-19 time, I would focus on segments, on growing segments, and as we saw on the previous lecture, there are growing segments, and we should be focused on them. Last, again, not least, is the stakeholders and the necessity to identify them and to approach them right with the right messages, the right content. And if you are there, your sales team just have to pick those opportunities and convert them, and the ratio will be higher than what we are familiar with on the regular and traditional marketing funnel. Oh, yeah, so I had another last one. I just move it, okay. Yeah, and I mentioned this, and this is to inspire your potential customer, the account, and with very compelling and personalized content, because this was from the beginning the issue, being able to create personalized content. And now that you have it, you should not miss this and create the right content. That's all. Last thing, I would like to thank Agnes Pivnik-Berman, who is actually here in the room with me. She is our amazing marketing manager for the endosurgery division, and she is the one to lead all the efforts I was mentioning. So thank you, and thank you all for listening, and you're welcome to ask, and I'll be glad to provide more advices.